All right, part two. So we went to Guitar Maniacs yesterday. Nate and my aunt Jack went in there, paid $206. So now I owe $1,694. My hair is just not wanting to cope with me today. That's why I don't take showers first thing in the morning. I take them the night before because my hair does not want to. It gets all fluffy and wild, and so it's annoying, honestly. But anyway, yeah, we went to Guitar Maniacs, obviously, and got to play with the Rakenback for a bit. I asked them if they could pull it out, which he did. He seemed kind of grumpy about it, but that's just his character at this point. The guy is just kind of a grumpy dude, but he'll do it, But I told him I'm not going to press you to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to press you to get my guitar out. I just want to show it to Nate, right? And take some pictures and videos if I could. In which I did get pictures and videos, but what I get for not playing bass very much lately, I sucked at playing bass. I couldn't play anything. I sounded like shit playing the whole time. And one of the pickups doesn't work on there, so the guitar works, but I'm gonna have to get one of the pickups checked out. So it's there's a switch, and when you flick it to the middle, it works, and when you flick it down, it works. But one of the ways, either up or down, because it can go middle, up, and down, and one of the pickups does not work. And I think it's the real bassy bass pickup, but then again, I had it plugged into Rico Sound, because the thing that annoys me about this bass is that where it would say Rico Sound in standard to the amplifier input, it's like not there anymore, so I have to like guess which one's which. But either way, the guitar still works, so. But yeah, I got to play with it for like 20 minutes or so, 10 minutes, and that was really nice. But yeah, Nate got to play with it. He tried doing chords on it, and I told him, you can do chords on a bass, but it's not really ideal to do chords on a bass. You just got to play the single note background. That's Jack. Jack. Hold on. What the fuck is you doing, bro? Stop. Quit scratching up the fucking door. Stop. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You're ripping up the fucking door. Damn it. Great. Now the fucking door's all ripped. Sorry. He ripped up the fucking gift wrap on the inside. So, and no, I didn't kick him. I didn't kick him very hard. I don't want him ripping that. I think that was my zipper on the chair. My coat zipper. Anyway, so yeah, I got to play with it a while, and it throws me off when I play, especially because it's just like I have my amp set the way I want it to sound, and when it's just the raw bass sound, like smooth, I want it to sound really bassy and fucking like really metal-ish, rock-ish, so it throws me off when I'm playing like Metallica and AC/DC and shit like that. It just sounds really odd, so. Because I think the song's in my head, but then people are around, Nate's around and Aunt Jack's around watching me. And I'm like, oh man, I really got to play something. And then I start fucking up, especially since I don't have a strap. And I'm like holding on to the guitar and playing at the same time. It makes it really, really difficult. But, oh God, that's a bee. Out. Mr. B, go back to your hive. It's too fucking Either that or that's a big flight. Oh, there's a bird. What's up, bird? What's happening, bird? He ran under my car. Better get the fuck on. Anyway, so sorry about the sun. Yeah, so we hung out there for a while. I'll post the videos anyway. They're really nothing major to show because there's tons of 4001 videos already, and I was playing like shit. So I guess yesterday I can label myself as one of the worst bass players I've ever heard, playing since April. You know, I should not be fucking up by now, but oh well. But anyway, yeah, we left, went to eat some pizza at this pizza place, which was really good. But Jack ordered garlic bread, and they fucking got our whole, basically cheesy pizza-sized garlic bread, hella cheesy, and they put Parmesan in it. I was like, oh, fuck, Jack ain't gonna eat that. So we ended up taking it, and Jack didn't eat it, and she kept getting sick because of the smell. So, pretty much, we left that, went to Guitar Center by the Tacoma Mall, and just played random shit. You know, I wanted to see how Nate was doing so far, and really Nate hasn't made very much progress at all. He only knows like a couple of chords, but that's it. You know, he hasn't really learned much else. So chances are, you know, if Nate really wants to, you know, he's gonna have to practice hell hard. But Nate, at least he's trying. But you know, he's not really amped to do any of that band stuff. You know, because I talk about Nate and like the band stuff with Jake and Robert, but you know, Nate doesn't really have that motivation. And, you know, the first step to wanting to get into playing guitar is even knowing if you want to play guitar and knowing if you really even know what guitar you like, what guitar you feel, what guitar, you know, because he means well, but he likes the acoustic guitar. And the issue with the acoustic guitar is that's not, you know, Jack Black, you know, there are metal acoustic players out there, but, you know, acoustic's not really a metal instrument, but people do it. You know, Jack Black does it, Tenacious D does it, you know, Led Zeppelin, Metallica have used acoustics in little bits kind of to build up a song, but Jack Black and Tenacious D is really the only group that I've heard use acoustics, like, actually for metal type shit, which is actually mind-blowing, but you know, they do it really well because it's Jack Black and I forgot the other guy, I'm sorry, but Tenacious D, you know, I'm just gonna keep saying Tenacious D. But yeah, so, you know, I kept trying to get him around to feeling different guitars, so I'm like, what do you like, dude? You know, what do you even like? Do you like Flying V's? Do you like the James Hetfield ESPs? Do you like Les Pauls? Do you like Stratocaster? Do you like Telecaster? Like, he didn't really know, and I know he means well, but I don't think he really cares too much either. Which again, he means well because he's doing it. You know, his dad will practice with him. He'll practice with his dad, but I don't think he really cares too much. You know, that's why I always tell him, you know, you gotta want to do it, man. Because if you don't really want to, then that's okay. You know what I mean? If you don't want to, don't feel pressured. You know what I mean? But, you know, really, because I wanted him to do the drums, but he can't even play the drums. I barely know how to play the drums. Barely. The only song I could really get on point with is just the PH theme. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Then you're innocent. I wish I was still innocent. We're all not innocent. But anyway, so... But yeah, so... yeah, I really wanted Nate to play the drums, but he didn't know how to play the drums either, because you got to use more body parts, you know, as opposed to just your hands. You got to use your legs. You got to break your brain up into 4 areas and, you know, learn how to be a drummer, and Nate doesn't know how to do that either. But, so I don't think with Nate things will really work out. But hey, of course, in time, you never know how quick people adjusted. Because I had my Strat for 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, almost 4 years. And I didn't start playing it until literally April of this year. So, and then I got into bass and wanted a bass guitar because, fat fingers. So, but anyway, yeah, I kept trying to get him into the Les Pauls. Try this Les Paul out. Try this. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a metal looking fucked up ass death metal guitar? Like, what do you like? Because like Jake likes the Flying V's. Jake really likes the Flying V's. Like, I sent him a bunch of pictures of the Flying V's, and he was just ogling a Carina, Epiphone Carina 50s, and I was just like, it's $900, $1,000, Me, I do not like Flying V's. They play okay, but I think they look ugly, in my opinion, and they don't really feel that comfortable, honestly. Tried the James Hetfield looking guitar, the ESP looking guitar, Metallica. Didn't like that either. Big no-no. Didn't like it. I like Les Pauls, Fender Strats. I like the circular body. I like the old classic electric and bass guitars. Hence, with the... plus, I like design too, so... The Rickenbacker, man. The Rickenbacker won me over hella fast. When I saw that, I was like, man, that is a gorgeous bass guitar. Because I used to think they looked really weird, but then I started seeing people playing on it, and I was like, oh, man, it's different from my Fender Strat. And that's why I went for, why didn't you just go for a precision bass or a jazz bass when you like the Strat? Because I wanted something different. You know what I mean? I wanted something that was different. I like to collect different things at the same category. Like, instead of a 1911, don't get another 1911 because you already have a 1911. So just get a Beretta or a Glock, you shake it up. You want to try different things that you might like, you know what I mean? So, unless you're trying to be gung-ho and carry two of the same to be a cowboy, but other than that, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get 2 Glocks. As I am not trying to get 2 Fender Stratocasters. If I get a Stratocaster and I want another electric guitar, I'm going to want to get a Gibson Les Paul or a ES335. Something different, you know what I mean? Something different. So, since I wanted to do electric guitar and now into bass, I could have gotten a jazz bass, already paid it off, would have been playing it by now, or precision bass, but I wanted something different from the Strat body. So... Rickenbacker. That's how I ended up with my Rickenbacker. So, I kept trying to get him to figure out which kind he wanted, and he was like, oh, they all feel fine. They all feel fine. Well, you gotta have one that really motivates you, man. You gotta have a guitar that you see, you want to buy it, and you want to be like, man, once I get that, I'm gonna play that fucking shit every day. You know what I mean? The Rickenbacker bass, man, I'm gonna want to play that all the time. You know what I mean? So, you're gonna want a guitar that really clicks with you, which is not bad to be open for anything. It's not bad, but it's good to really have one that catches your eye. And I kept being like, here, hold the Les Paul, hold the hollow body, the hollow body Epiphone Casino. They had one of those there. Try the Brian May. They had a Brian May guitar there, which that was really surprising. They had a Brian May Red Special there. Oh man, that was so nice too. But, he couldn't figure out what he liked. We played the drums for a while, and then on the way out, I was like, well, I guess I'll just look at pedals. They had a fucking Cliff Burton Morley Power Wah there, man. I was like, oh, I want that so bad, bro. I want the Cliff Burton Power Wah. Hopefully it'll still be there. Plus they order stuff like that online, so I'm not missing out. But hopefully that'll stay there by January or February, because those pedals really don't look like they're going anywhere. Want the Power Wah, want the Cliff Distortion, or not Cliff Distortion, the DSW distortion. I want a Digitech drop, which drops the tuning, you know, automatically, so you don't have to tune the guitar. And then they have what else did they got? They have a Eddie Van Halen pedal there too that I really want. And then they got, but I don't know how that would really sound on bass. And then they got a couple other ones that I have an eyeball to, taking a liking to. And then they have ones where you can automatically, like, bunch of buttons where you could set it to different tones, kind of like a keyboard, how you can do different sound effects. But those are like $1,200. So I was like, man, that actually would be pretty cool too if you can make it sound like anything. If you can make it sound like a fucking power wah distortion pedal, if you can make it sound like that, then what's the point of buying other pedals? But it's good to have cheap pedals, you know. Power wah, bam, easier than a $1,200 pedal. You know what I mean? I have a Morley power wah already, but the Cliff Burton one is like the most accurate. So Rickenbacker power wah to bass amp, fuck, dude, you're set to sound like fucking Cliff Burton. Which I'm not trying to copy Cliff Burton, but if I can get his play style, then that would be awesome because his bass sounded so nice. But anyway, to finish it off, he was undecisive. So I was like, well, that's about it. I don't know what the fuck else to do for him, you know. I went there again to look. He couldn't decide, so I was just like, oh, well, you know, he likes the acoustics. So I'm like, well, you know, it's nothing wrong with that. But with that being said, on the way out, I saw another Rickenbacker. They actually had a Rickenbacker there, finally. They had a Rickenbacker 4003. My finger cramped. 4003, brand new. They had a brand new 4003 there. It was in the maple glow finish. And it was $2,500. So I looked at Nate. I was like, "What the fuck, man?" He was like, "What?" He was like, "There's another fucking there's a Rickenbacker here. I thought they didn't sell them in the stores, you know, because they always were complaining about Rickenbacker being issues or something like that." But you know, I mean, you know, if they're difficult, they're just saying what's true, you know. You never know. But anyway, I don't want to say Rickenbacker is difficult because I've never spoken to those people, so I don't know. But they told me that they were difficult. But they had a Rickenbacker there, brand new 4003, and man, didn't feel any different. Did not feel any different whatsoever. It felt exactly like I was holding mine. So I was just like, man, there's really nothing different about this one other than the pickup actually working. Because on mine, one of the pickups don't work. So, but yeah, we played with that for a while. Guy got us a pick and a chord. Played on one of the bass amps from there. I'm probably going to get a bass amp from Guitar Center. But Nate's dad said he'll help me out with that. Nick, that'd be really awesome and helpful because they're like $500, $2,000 for the really good ones. So, but anyway, we went home, dropped Nate off, came back to the house, DoorDashed, and then that was it. And now we are here in the morning, but I gotta go back inside to get cleaning up. So I'm gonna try experimenting with iMovie a little bit. So yeah, see how this goes.